can't even tell you how many times I've actually tried to record this video. It's kind of ridiculous. But, so I'm here at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center with Carlene, and she's admitted once again for an infection, actually. So, the history is, she has stage 4 metastatic retinoblastoma. She's gone through intense chemotherapy for about 6 months, a stem cell bone marrow transplant. We recently had post-transplant scans that show that her tumor's growing again. So we did another round of chemotherapy, intra-arterial chemotherapy, just recently last week, and now she's in here for an infection. So that's like what's going on right now. But I think I've realized like what the actual source, of like this infection is, and it's because I have the opportunity to talk to all of the doctors that are on her care team, one-on-one. And I'm able to sort of piece together, my theory about exactly what's going on with her. It actually wasn't until the infectious disease people came in today that I really got a handle on, okay, this is exactly what's, going on with her. So you guys have to excuse me. I'm utterly exhausted from this process. So it's kind of like, yeah. So, I just want to say, first and foremost, though, I love her care team here. Everybody here at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York City are amazing. This is the best place for Carlene to be, especially because she had this relapse, and her treatment options would have been super limited as to what they could do for her with her relapsing so soon after the bone marrow transplant. But the ophthalmic artery chemosurgery is what it's called, that they just gave her, was actually invented here by her primary doctors, and the doctor that administered the chemo across the street, he's a Dr. Cobain. He's an actual interventional radiologist. Anyways, I digress. The point of this video is to really give like an update on Carlene and what's going on, or what I've figured out is going on. She had a Metaport put in her chest when she first started her treatment. She had a Metaport put in, and right after the Metaport was put in, she actually started chemotherapy that same day. And then she got an infection, and that thing got really infected, really bad. So they had to take the Metaport out, and then after they took the Metaport out, they had to give her antibiotics. So they put a temporary line in her neck, and then she couldn't just receive, antibiotics through the temporary line. So then they put a PICC line in her arm, and then that line got infected. Then they gave her another PICC line, and that got infected. And then they gave her another PICC line, and that got infected. I think you understand like where I'm going with this. Long story short, she got her 8th line, central line, electrophoresis catheter in October to do her stem cell harvesting for the bone marrow transplant and all of that. And it's been in until just a couple of days ago. It stayed in and it was doing great. Prior to that, the line just prior to that, she had the same sort of catheter on the right side, but because that was the site of the Metaport that had gotten infected, it also got infected, and it created a blood clot actually in her carotid artery. That's important now that I talked to infectious disease today. It's a big part of my hypothesis on what's going on with her. So basically, they told me back then that clot can stay there for, up to a year or longer. Clots take a long time to resolve. They also said that that clot could also have some of that infection that's been going on this whole time over the last year, in it. Luckily, when she was doing her last high-dose chemotherapy and the stem cell harvesting and all of that, like, none of, anyways, I'm gonna hold that thought. None of that caused more infection until they just did this ophthalmic artery chemosurgery. So basically, they put a catheter in her in her femoral artery. So in her, like by her femur, they put a catheter in there, ran it all the way up her body to the main artery that supplies blood to that particular orbit of her eye where the tumor's growing again, the ophthalmic artery. And that was done. And a few days ago, after chemo, she just basically didn't wake up. She was asleep like the entire time, from Thursday of last week until like I brought her in on Monday, I think it was, we got here. But I brought her into the hospital Sunday night because she had a fever. And something just didn't feel right. So I brought her in and I'm like, something's going on. Given her infection history and things, they ran cultures and the fact that she had a fever. Went home. They called us the next morning and said, you got to get in here because the cultures were positive. She has an infection. Hindsight now is 2020, and I realized today after talking with, infectious disease, they're saying that she has 3 different type of bacteria that are growing, and because of that, it tells them that this infection has been there a while. And he said that he wanted to check for blood clots because that's usually the source of an infection, and that's where I said she had a blood clot, a very serious one, from the line before this line. We had to use Lovenox, like blood thinner and things like that, to try to, thin it out. And we had her on antibiotics, antibiotic backpack that she carried around for 8 weeks before she did her stem cell harvest and all of that. But I don't think the infection ever left. I think that it probably was still in that blood clot in her artery. And since this chemosurgery actually accesses the artery system in the body, I think it just woke it up. I think that's actually, what happened. After talking with everybody, and everybody's trying to figure out what's going on, that is my theory. I plan on presenting this theory to the doctors tomorrow and see what they have to say about it. But in my mind, that is exactly what's going on. So I think that I want to leave, everyone with this. I don't talk about what I think a lot of what's going on with Carlene because I don't want people to misconstrue it, as medical advice or anything like that. Because, I am a traditional naturopath and a clinical herbalist, and I have my own theories on health and wellness and, all of those things. But I don't want people to think that when I talk about Carlene, I'm giving you medical advice or telling what to do or anything like that. It's not like that. Like I said, every one of these doctors have their own specialty. My specialty is Carlene. Carlene is my specialty. So I just want, parents out there to know that you are your child's advocate, and you have choices and you have a voice. Anytime that you feel like there's something going on with your child, you know them best. I even tell, my own clients, if any doctor tells you that they know how you operate better than you should probably run in the opposite direction because, you know how you work best. And as parents, we know how our children, work. The professionals are here for a reason. Hats off to them. I love them all. But Carlene is my specialty, and I hope, I'm knocking on wood, there's no wood around here, but I hope that I figured it out. So thank you all for all your support and for supporting Carlene and showing her your